connected.
What's up, YouTube? It's dafobra out here in the garage with another gear review. This is one piece of gear I'm particularly excited to get my hands on. Today we review the Atlas helmet from Ruroc. Now, Ruroc might be a new name in motorcycle helmets, but they have been making helmets for skiing, snowboarding, and even skating for many years. But more recently, they decided to dive into the motorcycle helmet market. And the result? The Ruroc Atlas. So let's get it over to the bench and take a look. This is the Ruroc Atlas helmet. Obviously, I chose this colorway because it matches perfectly with my street triple. But this Riot graphic is also available in 4 other colors. And the entire Atlas line, well, that's available in several colorways, several graphics, and even solid colors. This particular helmet is actually a size large, which is the size I typically wear in most brands. And my very first impression here holding this helmet is how super light it is. And you know what? It should be. The shell of the Atlas is constructed of aerospace grade Italian T300 carbon fiber. So it should be just as strong as it is light. This helmet is both DOT and ECE 2205 certified. As far as fit and finish goes, it looks pretty good. The shell is smooth and I don't see any imperfections in it. The graphics on this Riot Cobalt, well, they are crisp. They have been laid down nice and smooth. I don't see any defects in any of them as well. The plastic pieces on the helmet, they are secure, they're not loose, and the transition from the carbon fiber shell to those plastic pieces, well, it's nice and smooth, nothing jagged. Looks like a really nice quality helmet. Overall, I'm pretty impressed. I gotta tell you, I especially like the way they did this Ruroc graphic right here with kind of like a carbon fiber-ish honeycomb inside the graphic, and it really looks nice. It has that same kind of honeycomb all throughout this graphic here. It just really works well. The overall design is not too busy, it's clean, and yet it kind of pops at, you know, and I kind of like that. At the bottom of the helmet here, kind of has like a little chin. Think as if Jay Leno was a helmet. That's what it has down here, which I haven't seen on many helmets themselves, so it'll be interesting to see how that works in the wind and how it directs the wind all around the front of the helmet. Finally, I do like these plastic caps on the end of the visor. They just kind of finish it off, but we'll talk more about the visor later on when we get to that. Next up, let's talk about ventilation. Now, this motorcycle helmet has 6 intake vents and 6 exhaust vents. Yes, you heard that right. 2 up here at the brow line. You have 2 in the front here. Ordinarily, I'd call it a chin vent, but it's not. It's like a nose or a nose to chin vent. And then you have 1 vent on either side just below the visor pivot. Man, I can't believe how light this thing is. It is worth noting that of all of these intake vents, only this nose chin vent is actually able to be switched open or closed. And that switch is actually on the inside here, directly in front of where the rider's mouth would be. I must admit I'm a bit skeptical about this, and I'm curious about how that'll work while you're riding, but I'm gonna reserve my judgment until I actually ride it. Now, this nose to chin vent is what Ruroc calls their RAID, R-A-I-D system, which is supposed to push air in front of the visor to kind of demist or defog it, which is interesting because this visor is actually an anti-fog visor. So I'm trying to figure out what RAID stands for, and the only thing I can think of is redirect air into divisor? I don't know. We'll work on that. Moving on. Turning the helmet around, you can see that the exhaust vents are 2 here at the top, 2 towards the rear, and 2 at the extreme back, protruding off the back of the helmet. Now, it should be noted there's no way to turn these exhaust vents off at all. They are always open. The exhaust vents at the rear actually look really nice. They give it a little bit of a tail at the back, and they don't distract from the overall design. Reaching through the liner, you can actually feel two really wide channels that direct air over the top of the helmet. Needless to say, this thing must flow a ton of air. Now underneath, the Atlas does have a really nice chin curtain here with kind of a neoprene lining for comfort. Looks super comfortable. The liner itself is soft and has a nice decent neck roll at the rear here. So let's talk about the visor. One really awesome thing that Ruroc does, that to be honest with you, it would be great if all other helmet manufacturers did the same thing, is that they include both a smoked and a clear visor with the helmet. We all know that when you buy a brand new helmet, you kind of have to factor in the cost of an additional smoke visor anyway, because that's how it looks the best. Doesn't that just look cooler? Anyway, I do like the shape of the visor. I like the cutout for the nose area. It gives it a kind of a totally different look. And both visors have an anti-scratch as well as an anti-fog, like I said before, coating. The visors are optically correct, and they're actually pretty wide and pretty tall. And I like how they have these little handles here to open and close it on both sides of the visor. Meaning when you're stopped and you want to open or close your visor, you can use either hand to do so. Now the visor itself has 3 stops. Halfway open, fully open, and of course, closed. Now there is friction along the entire range of opening, but there isn't any kind of like a way to crack it open to kind of get air for those colder morning rides. I guess that's what that raid system is for. This front visor will actually redirect air. Only time will tell. Now I have to tell you, as soon as I turned it around and saw this, I was worried. And then I saw this sitting inside the box and figured, wow, so cool for Ruroc to give us a bottle opener. But then I realized this was the tool to change the visor. And then I had flashbacks to when my buddy had an Icon variant, which used a special tool, and it was kind of a pain to change the visor. Now I have to tell you that I would prefer a quick release visor system over a tool used to remove and install a visor any day. But having said that, I have to tell you, it's not that bad. Changing the shield on this helmet from the clear to the tinted, it really didn't have anywhere near the drama of that old variant. It only took about 1.5 to 2 minutes. And this tool that Ruroc includes, it's really nothing more than a 4mm hex. So using this makes removal and reinstallation even easier. But it is nice to have this because you could throw it in your pocket or somewhere on the bike and make those shield changes, you know, easier because it's quick to get to this. But you still need a place to put your clear or smoke shield so you can swap it out. Hey Ruroc, if you're listening, I got one word for you: transitions. I have it on one of my other helmets. It is a game changer. You don't have to change any shield. It goes from dark to light, light to dark. I would love to see that brought in a future version of this helmet. Okay, so now we come to probably the most awesome part of this helmet. Now, most motorcycle helmets out there use the double D-ring method, which most of us can probably do in our sleep. But this one uses something called a fidlock. What's a fidlock? Essentially what it is, it's a hook clasp that uses a magnet to secure it. And it takes seconds, and it's done so easily, even with gloved hands. As fast as you think you can fasten a double D-ring, this thing's gonna be faster. And best of all, it's just as strong as a double D-ring. All you have to do is adjust the buckle for length, and you're good. So with all of these features and all of this lightweight, how does it perform on the road? Well, it's about 45 degrees out there, but I gotta tell you, I gotta try this thing out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it out for a ride. I'm gonna go varied speeds between around town and then parkway speeds, and I'm gonna let you know how it works.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
So the first thing I want to say about this helmet is that it is incredibly comfortable. No pressure on any parts of my head. I went out for a decent ride, probably about 30 minutes, nothing major because it is really cold outside. and it was very, very comfortable. It's also incredibly light. I barely felt like I had a helmet on my head. The ventilation is unbelievable. There was a ton of air being directed at me, and while it wasn't perfect for the super cold day that I was out there today, this is something that will be incredibly welcome once it is the warmer time of the year. Now, with all of that ventilation comes a lot of wind, and the result was a little bit of wind noise. Now, I ride with earplugs, I always do, but once I hit about 45 or 50 miles an hour, I could actually hear a slight wind noise going right past my ears. So I pulled over, and what I did was I put some tape over these side vents, both of these side vents, and it was a big difference. I was a little past the highway speed limit, I'll say, and the noise was incredibly lessened. So if there was a way to shut off at least these side ventilations, it would be great. Now, if you don't wear earplugs, this is going to be more of an issue for you than for me. I think what I'll do is I'll probably block this one and this one off somehow, because I really like this helmet, and I don't want to, destroy the style with my masking tape on the side of it. Obviously, it's going to ruin the look. So Ruroc, if you're listening, I think being able to shut off some of these vents, especially for those of us in colder climates, would be a welcome addition to the next incarnation of this helmet. Now, one thing we have to keep in mind, this is Ruroc's very first motorcycle helmet, and because of that, I gotta tell you, they did a heck of a job. But of course, there's always room for improvement. What I said about ventilation, that would be the first thing I change. The other thing I change is moving the control for this chin nose vent to somewhere outside, because I did find it difficult to access it while riding, to make a quick adjustment to open or close it. And of course, it would be nice to have a quick release system on the visor, or maybe that transition shield that I was hinting at before. But I'll be honest, there's really not much about this I would change. I like it. I like the style. I like the comfort. I love the weight. My next step is going to be installing my Sena 20S Evo into this helmet. And speaking of Bluetooth, Ruroc does have something called the Shockwave available, which installs right into here. It's actually something that can be installed later on in any of their Atlas helmets. At the current time, I think it's about $150. It plugs right in the back here, and it allows you to Bluetooth to your phone, to listen to GPS or music, or to make phone calls. But since all my buddies have Senas, it makes more sense for me to pop the Sena cradle in here, so that'll be the next thing I'm going to be doing. Now, Ruroc is gearing up for its Atlas 2.0 line, which at the time of this video is about a month away, so I'm really anxious to see what improvements they've made to this Atlas, because it is an amazing motorcycle helmet, especially given its price point. And that price point is between $400 and $475 currently, depending on what colorway or whatever you're going to go with for the Atlas. You get a great looking carbon fiber helmet with both a smoke and a clear shield. You also get the ability to upgrade to their proprietary Bluetooth for not too much money. Honestly, if the ability to open and close vents was added to this helmet, it might be one of the best options out there. So if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the section down below, and I'll do my very best to answer them. And if you have not yet done so, please subscribe to get all the latest content here on the channel. And make sure you click that little bell, and you'll be notified when a new video has been released. So thank you very much for watching. Ride safe, everyone. I'll see ya.